Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ThePackHub's latest packaging webinar. My name is Paul Jenkins. I'm Managing Director of UK Packaging Innovation Consultancy, ThePackHub. I'm joined, as always, by my colleague, Barrington Pamplin, Technical Director, who will be chairing questions towards the end of the session. And also delighted to be joined today by Marika, Knorr, who is a Global Head of Sustainability and Communication at CCL Label, a company I'm sure most of you are aware of. CCL Label has just launched a new generation of shrink film material called EcoFloat, so we're going to hear a bit more about that, which works on different types of plastic packaging, which can help boost recycling rates to close the loop in packaging. So looking forward to hearing from Marika in a moment. So what we're going to cover in the next 55 minutes or so, I guess it is. So as always, just a quick refresher on the ThePackHub and our Innovation Zone packaging database. We're going to split the Recyclable Packaging Innovations into two sections. So we'll cover off the first few in the first section, and then we'll hear from Marika with her presentation, the revolutionary polyolefin sleeve material that helps brands recycle. We'll then split into the second set of packaging innovations, recyclable packaging innovations from our Innovation Zone. And then we'll have a little bit of details about our next event. So please get your questions in. I think most people are familiar with the Zoom format, so the opportunity with a Q&A on the panel to ask any questions. And we look forward to hearing from you with the questions. You will get a link to the webinar recording post-event as always. So if you've obviously registered because you're watching this now, so you'll get a link which will be on YouTube by tomorrow morning. So a little bit about the ThePackHub. We're a leading packaging innovation consultancy, 4 areas of service really. So technical support and project management, so we can do various reports and technical services for your packaging needs. Events and webinars. We're looking forward to getting back face-to-face events early next year, but obviously we've done a series of webinars over the last 18 months or so as well. Reports. Our latest one is Global Packaging Trends Compendium. Our next report is going to be on the tricky world of plastic packaging. So that will be coming out this side of Christmas. And last but not least is our Innovation Zone packaging database. This is a global packaging innovation resource, searchable and easy to use capability, nearly 5,200 packaging initiatives and 20 uploaded each week. And these are from concept to in-market launch. So we're picking up on university initiatives, as well as things you might see on a supermarket shelf or on an e-commerce page. Very much a global view, so we're picking up innovations very much from around the world. So I think we track packaging translated in about 14 different languages. So a great way of keeping your team up to speed, and a bit of inspiration and idea generation. So there are some of the companies that we have subscribed, and delighted to have Co-op and Nestle join us in recent times. I mentioned the Global Packaging Trends report. Some of you viewing now will have already purchased a copy. Everything we do in terms of presentations goes back to the 9 packaging trends that we've collated as part of the report. Naturally done, everyday engagement, the online surge, making life easy, getting noticed, protect and preserve, refill revolution, materially changed, and recycling resurgence. And that's really what we're going to be talking about today. So this is about the growth in appetite for recyclable packaging products and also products that have recycled content. And also got the plastic packed, encouraging the increase in recyclability. And of course, got things like the plastic packaging tax, which is coming into the UK next April, and in other markets, which penalises plastic packaging that has, from a financial point of view, less than 30% recycled content, or at least it will do. So that is obviously shaping strategic direction for brands and retailers and suppliers. As always, the innovations we're about to show they're not an endorsement or examples of best practice. What we're doing is we're picking the innovations that we've literally just tracked on our innovation zone and that reflect the activity in the global market. So the first one is from Ferrero Group. Interestingly, I was looking at LinkedIn, and one of a brand owner connection was bemoaning the fact that Ferrero Rocher had a very outdated pack and could do with an overhaul in terms of recyclability. And then about 2 days later, an announcement came out from the Ferrero Group that their iconic Ferrero Rocher range was switching to a more recyclable box. So I thought that was quite good timing there from my connection. The packaging has been criticised by some in the past for its lack of recyclability. I mean, it's very much designed to present, sort of a nice presentation as part of a gifting experience, but in latter days has been accused potentially of being over packaged and not as recyclable as it could be. So the new eco-design boxes, as they've called them, are the outcome of a partnership between Ferrero Group's R&D department and materials science experts Millikan. The transition to recyclable box apparently saw the development of more than 29 different plastic resin iterations. The final design is made from polypropylene, which is easier to recycle across markets around the world. The new design will use 40% less plastic for its 16-piece box and 38% less plastic for its 30-piece box. The company further calculates that approximately 2,000 tons of plastic globally will be saved in the first year of rollout and will have at least 30% lower carbon footprint. The box will maintain its transparency and will see a phased rollout in markets across the globe. And the initiative, as is the case with many brand owners, is part of a commitment to making 100% of the packaging reusable, recyclable, or compostable by 2025, which when this was all announced seemed not a long time away. As we approach 2022, that is becoming ever closer. The next innovation from Turkey-based Carozo, who have 45 years of experience in the flexible packaging industry and is a major supplier of barrier films, bags, and flexible packaging. The business has announced the introduction of a recyclable living film for PP-based trays. The new peel solution allows the entire pack to be recyclable in existing as well as emerging polypropylene recycling streams. The PP trays are a widely used solution for meat products, as you would know, to replace sort of polyester-based trays, which are not widely recyclable in the PET stream in most markets. New peel is a recyclable laminate consisting of two specially developed PP substrates that maintain the necessary high performance properties of perhaps more traditional living materials made of unrecyclable PET or PE composites. The outer layer has been created to deliver transparency and printability, whilst the inner delivers fit for purpose peel transparency, anti-fog, and the necessary barrier properties. New peel in combination with a PP tray is fully recyclable in PP recycling streams without compromising convenience, and the polypropylene recycling streams continue, I guess, to improve in various markets around the world. Mondelez, the global food and beverage giant, and I think we've got some delegates here today from that company, has announced that in the UK and Ireland, its Cadbury dairy milk packaging will contain up to 30% recycled plastic, so very much in line with plastic packaging tax coming into play in the UK next year. The move will affect over 28 million sharing bars, and Mondelez have committed to reducing its use of virgin plastic by 5% for its packaging portfolio globally by 2025. The business also claims that by that time, they will also have invested over 215 million pounds in sustainability for its plastic packaging, while also spending over 21 million annually on technology, resources, and infrastructural improvements. Mondelez have already moved their Dairy Lunchables and Snackers range in the UK to a 75% rPET content, while in 2022, their range of Philadelphia cheeses will start to incorporate recycled plastic. So very much moving to recycled content for that brand owner. And earlier this year, Mondelez announced with other operators the launch of the Flexible Plastic Fund, an initiative to increase rates of flexible plastic recycling by adding front of store recycling points. And certainly the number of front of store recycling points in the UK has increased significantly in recent times. US-based dairy company Clover Sonoma has announced the first post-consumer recycled 1 gallon milk jug. I'm not sure what that is in metric, but for the United States market. And the move is intended to fully support a circular economy approach and is in line with the business's commitment to using PCR content across all their gallon milk plastic jugs by 2025. The bottles are made from, as you would expect, from HDPE, therefore can be fully recycled through standard recycling streams. Looked up the recycling rates for HDPE bottles in the US market, and in 2018 it was 29.3%, according to the Environmental Protection Agency. So some work ongoing there really to improve those recycling rates. In terms of sustainability and recyclability, perhaps the luxury beauty sector is a little bit behind in terms of development of more sustainable packaging. They're certainly attempting to catch up, I think, with luxury and premium packaging products. The packaging is so important to deliver an authentic and luxury look that sometimes in the past sustainability has taken a below step, but that is certainly not the case anymore. And brands are really moving forward with more environmentally friendly initiatives. So this is the first for the Chanel luxury beauty house that sees the introduction of new packaging for their flagship No. 5 fragrance brand, incorporating recycled glass. The launch of recycled glass is a continuation of the brand's recent 100-year celebrations, and will be the first of the brand's products to adopt the new packaging. A special industrial process was developed in order to guarantee transparency close to crystal, and the No. 5 limited edition 100 ml is the first to adopt the new pack, which is expected to be applied to other perfumes in the range in due course. For every 1 million bottles of the recycled glass is adopted, more than 25 tons of raw virgin material is saved. Next up is Israeli fresh produce packaging company ThePack, best known for its Extend packaging product brand, which we've covered extensively in the Innovation Zone over the years. And they're launching a new seal for fruit and vegetables, created with the intention of extending the shelf life of fresh fruits and salads. The seal is designed to be fully recyclable and is an easy peel, and it has been constructed using ThePack's modified atmosphere packaging technology. This preserves the nutritional value and shelf life of fruit and vegetables by creating the perfect level of condensation and humidity within the pack. The solution has already been introduced in Israel for fruit brand Rafco, incorporating it for a range of its products. Premium dental care brand Dr. Sheffield's is certified by the National Products Association in the States and has announced that its fluoride-free charcoal toothpaste product will now be available in aluminium metal tubes. So a little bit of a nod to the past for this one. The toothpaste brand's range consists of 9 flavors and will transition to fully recyclable aluminium tubes following extensive consumer research of various new packaging options. The study was undertaken to decide on the best sustainable pack to move forward, and the business has made a notable investment into advanced automated packaging equipment to allow the manufacture of toothpaste packed in aluminium tubes at high speeds. So this is very much a long-term commitment and investment in this packaging format. The business recognizes that recycled plastic tubes are more cost effective, but recycling rates are poor. A plastic tube also is seen as being less effective at preserving the quality of the content. And I guess moving to an aluminium tube also perhaps denotes sort of a more premium look and feel for the product as well. Last innovation in the first section before we hear from Marika. So this is a leading French ready-to-use fresh salad producer, Fleuret, and they've announced the introduction of a recyclable paper-based salad bag. The new material will be used to pack their agrologique range of salads, which are organically produced and independently tested to be pesticide-free. Although it has a very thin layer of plastic, which is required for sealing and maintaining product integrity, the pack still meets French requirements for recycling when placed in the country's domestic yellow bins. In moving to paper-based bags, Fleuret have reduced the amount of plastic used to a functional minimum, saving apparently nearly 40% of plastic compared to conventional plastic packs. As part of the initiative, Fleuret has saved more than 180 tons of plastic annually by reducing the thickness and size of packs since 2018. And they've also moved all their rigid trays to recyclable mono materials, and 22% of all plastic used in its packaging is being recycled. So that's the end of section 1 in terms of new recyclable innovations. Delighted to introduce to you Marika, Head of Sustainability and Communication at CCL Label. And as I said at the beginning, the business has launched a new generation of shrink film material called EcoFloat. And I'm now going to, or I can see Marika's screen, so I'm going to unshare and I look forward to hearing more.
Okay.
Are you able to share, Marika?
Yes, hold on. Okay, should be coming up right now.
Excellent. Over to you, Marika. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul, for the introduction. I'm very happy to be with you this afternoon to be able to talk about a, well, by a lot of people considered a small part of the packaging, but a very important part of talking about EcoFloat, which is our latest innovation, but it will also talk about a couple of other label solutions that really perform really well when it comes to recycling. At first, a short introduction of CCL Industries. I joined CCL 1.5 years ago as the head of sustainability and communication. We are by far the largest label producer in the industry, and we have 191 production facilities worldwide at the moment. We're number 1 when it comes to pressure-sensitive labels and stretch sleeves, and we're number 2 in shrink sleeves. We have 22,200 employees, which is a lot, and our turnover is 5.2 billion Canadian dollars. Let's dive in. So, as all of you have witnessed in the last couple of years, we are in the midst of like a sustainable packaging revolution, and all the companies, as you also just heard from Paul, are moving into redesigning or rethinking the packaging. Design for recycling has become really important, and which means that all packaging components have to be functional and an ideal match for recycling. I've just put a picture here of like a really good packaging example, and as you see, like the cap has to be fitting the bottle, the whole bottle, and also the sleeve needs to be designed so that it doesn't hinder recycling. With this, I would like to invite you to meet EcoFloat. These are our new polyolefin low-density sleeve material that has been especially engineered for PET recycling. The sleeve material itself is low density, which means that it floats to the top of the washing basin in the recycling process, while the more heavy PET flexing to the bottom, but I'll go into that in more detail later. As I said, the sleeves were initially engineered for PET recycling, but we saw a huge demand from the market pretty soon, also for HDPE and PP containers, because with that, it's the same plastic family and can be recycled together. When you talk to recyclers, you often hear that 80% of recycling is the sorting. If you don't get the sorting right, recycling is near impossible. So of course, when we invented and introduced our new label material, we made sure that it could be detected in the standard sorting and recycling facilities. So what we did was we teamed up with InterZero, which is a pretty well-known recycling service provider here in Europe. And we did a couple of tests to see if the near-infrared detector could actually detect the underlying material and sort it into the right recycling stream. So what we found was that in about almost 100% of the underlying material could be detected. So the container went to the right recycling stream and then on to recycling. This is an overview because I always think it's like really important to understand how the recycling process actually works. If you look like choosing a new label or sleeve material for your packaging. So of course, like the first step is a collection after the consumer has consumed the product. And then afterwards, the sorting step, which I was just referring to. So this is something that we got certified. And then it goes on to the grinding and washing process. And after that, especially for the PET, there's a crucial step, it's called the sink float process. And in this sink float process, that's where the actual strength of EcoFloat can be demonstrated. After that, melting and extrusion, of course, and then onto recycling. So the crucial step I was talking about is the sink float process. It's basically a big, huge bathtub where all the shredded material, PET bottles with the labels and the caps are fed into. And then the whole thing is washed and also like kind of like stirred around. And then the PET flakes, which are heavier, sink to the bottom, and everything else, the caps and also the label and the sleeve material, float to the top. So you have like a really, really clean separation of the two things. And the yield of the high quality PET flakes enables these PET flakes to be recycled into a new bottle. So this is really an ideal solution for closing the loop. It's bottle to bottle recycling. Of course, I work for CCL Label, so of course we recommend EcoFloat, but others do too. Of course, we admitted our material to the leading platforms and experts in this field. And most of you probably know EPBP, the European PET bottle platform, and they recognize EcoFloat is not hindering recycling. And then we also admitted it to APR in the US, and we got recognition by them just recently. And also the French CTO and COTREP, they recommend EcoFloat polyolefin sleeve material as ideal for recycling. We are currently in the process of getting it certified in South Africa. So that's like the next step to come. It's a global, it's really with that, it's really a truly global material with like a very impressive footprint of recognition. EcoFloat is also recommended in the Design for Recycling guidelines. In the past couple of years, we've seen many Design for Recycling guidelines being issued. We also see a trend for harmonization at the moment. And the one we usually adhere to and look at is the Design for Recycling guideline put out by Recyclable. Recyclable is part of the Plastic Recyclers Europe, so the official trade association in this matter. And they team up with EPBP and also with PETCor to really make sure that the Design for Recycling guidelines fits the existing recycling standards. And also in the US, they all recommend polyolefin low density material for PET bottles. Okay, that's about what I wanted to say regarding EcoFloat. And are there other options for sustainable labels in the food and beverage industry? Yes, of course, there are. And I would like to have brought EcoStream, which has been in the market for a couple of years now. EcoStream follows the same principle as EcoFloat. It's a low density material, but for PSL. So like for pressure sensitive labels, which gives you just like different design options for customers who would like to use pressure-sensitive labels. Actually, the same thing. There's a clean separation because the label, together with the ink, which is very important, the ink remains on the label, so it doesn't contaminate or discolor the washing bath. So you don't have to filter it or like clean the water all the time. And this also enables a very high and high quality yield of PET flakes. The PET bottle flakes can be reused immediately and can be manufactured into new bottles. Then another solution which has gained a lot of interest in the last couple of years are our wash-off labels. These are the ideal solution for returnable glass bottles. And as we are seeing more and more returnable schemes and systems being installed throughout Europe, it's really, really important to have a label that performs within this returnable system. Means it must be removable in industrial washing machines. And with wash-off, we've really engineered the adhesive, but also the label with a little bit of a shrink so that it washes off really cleanly and also takes, of course, it takes the color and the adhesive with it so that you don't have a contamination in the industrial washing machines. As you can see, it's been an established patent. It's been commercialized since 2007, and it really does work with all bottle washers. So this is like an excellent solution for glass bottles, for example, in the beer industry, but also in the mineral water industry. Then last but not least, we have our super thin stretch sleeves. They are, well, in contrary to the other sleeves, they are stretched over the bottle. So they're very elastic and you kind of like stretch them over the bottle. So you don't need any varnish or any glue to apply them. And they are very, very, very stretched and thin and also made from low density material. They have a very low carbon footprint, therefore. Also kind of the same way it works. It floats to the top of the basin. So you have no contamination of the PET flakes on the bottom. And as I said before, they're very thin, you use less material, and they can be used with lighter bottles. We actually just won the German Packaging Award for our EcoStretch solutions. And this is me and my very happy colleagues from Austria picking up the award at the Fachpack 2 days ago. So, as I have outlined, you have several different ways of decorating your bottles and other packaging devices. You can choose to use PSL or shrink or stretch technology. And with this overview of all our sustainable solutions, I would like to close my presentation, and I would like to invite you to ask questions and contact me if you have any interest in our solutions and to know more about how sustainable labels can really support design for recycling. Thank you.
Marika, thank you very much for your time for that excellent presentation. I can see we've already got some questions coming in, so we'll cover those off once I've done my second part of the innovation. So we'll be back over to you shortly.
Thanks.
Just going to share my screen. Okay, so now over to a few more innovations before we do the Q&A session, more recyclable packaging. So Danone-owned leading water brand Evian has announced the combination of a 4-year collaboration with Canada-based recycling technology developers Loop Industries. The fruit of the development partnership is a groundbreaking prototype rPET bottle that utilizes low-value plastics. These materials might otherwise go to waste. The technology can utilize PET plastic waste from a range of sources, including plastic collected from the ocean, as well as colored and opaque plastics. The process involves breaking down plastic waste into monomers, which are purified and then repolymerized into virgin quality loop PET plastic. The aim of the rPET prototypes is to enable more plastics to be kept in use and lessen the reliance on fossil fuel sourced plastics. Evian has vowed to switch to 100% recycled plastics for all its plastic bottles by 2025. The new loop plastic recycling technology will be rolled out across the brand in all markets. Next up, one of the leading companies in the field of product and brand protection, Austria-based Securicat, has announced the introduction of a paper-based security seal. The new product combines tamper-evident technology with sustainability through a simplified recycling process that uses the same materials as for the product packaging, i.e. paper. Paper packaging that is closed with paper-based security seals can be deposited in the same recycling process the paper packaging would be recycled in. And paper is one of the most renewable raw materials, and recycling of paper is obviously well established. The security closure seals are characterized by the fact that an irreversible effect remains on the packaging when it is peeled off, making the opening and tampering of the packaging clear and obvious. The goal includes the development of both opaque and transparent security seals, in which especially security void effect is displayed when the seal is peeled off. And the pulp fibers can be recycled up to 8 times. Dow has combined with Bolari on a pilot project that enables the use of recycled content in new food contact packaging applications. These can in turn be recycled after use. The barrier shrink film is manufactured with circular polymers via Dow. These polymers come from a feedstock made entirely from plastics waste and are developed using advanced recycling techniques. The development enables hard to recycle plastics to be recycled and used safely and effectively in food contact applications rather than ending up in landfill or for incineration. The advanced recycling processes are also expected to save approximately 1.5 tons of carbon dioxide per ton of plastics recycled, compared with the incineration of unrecycled plastics, although it's not clear how they have come to that calculation. This film is to be rolled out first in the UK, where it will be exclusively distributed by Yorkshire Packaging Systems, which are also known as YPS, where it will be incorporated into suppliers of meat and poultry, Cranswick, for the packaging of whole bird products. DM is a chain of retail stores headquartered in Germany. The products they sell include cosmetics and various household products and health and food drinks. For the range of organic bakery products, they have replaced their previously packaging film, which was a multi-layer combination of PET, aluminium and PE, and therefore not recyclable in Germany. The new film alternative is a recyclable monomaterial made of polypropylene. The film, called Protect Barrier, and is supplied by German film supplier Mark, who claim to be a climate neutral company. They have a demand-orientated production process with efficient processes that avoid surpluses. As well as making the new pack recyclable, a 25% reduction in pack weight has also been achieved. So they're ticking a couple of sustainability boxes there. Canadian company St. John's Packaging has introduced what is claimed to be a world first with a PCR PE bread bag. The bag is made from 30% post-consumer recycled resins, PE resins, produced by advanced recycling technology. The recyclability of the bag is not compromised. Consumers can place it in a standard recycling bin and it will be further recycled by authorities. St. John's have received certification from the International Sustainability and Carbon Certification, the ISCC, for the pack, establishing that the material will be tracked throughout the supply chain, verifying its status as PCR. Now, one of the sort of changes that have coming in is around the EU Single-Use Plastics Directive regulations, which is seeing a requirement for tethered fitments for pouches and bottles. Here is another example. So we just thought, we are tracking quite a few of these as the changes come into effect, but we thought we would show one of these to reflect what's going on. So this is Scholl IPN. flexible packaging supplier, and they've announced the introduction of a new range of tethered fitments for spouted pouches. There are two different product families in the new range, link cap and flip cap, and they've been created for form, fill, seal across pre-made, hybrid and horizontal applications. The creation of a tethered fitment allows for the recycling of the entire bottle and cap together as one connected item. So that's the most important thing, that the cap stays with the bottle for its entire life with the consumer, to ensure that the cap gets recycled as well as the bottle. The change sees the phasing out of loose components in Scholl IPN's portfolio, and this kind of initiative is going on throughout sort of the beverage cap market. Last innovation for today, before we hear from some questions for Marika at CCL Label. One of the most frequent challenges with sort of coffee preservation and the role of packaging is that over time, the product oxidizes, causing the loss of acids, aromatics, and oils, which are really the things that make coffee taste good. So as such, the most effective packaging solutions to date have been multi-layer material combinations, often a combination of PET, aluminium, and PE. These triple layer laminates are consequently difficult to recycle. A solution to this problem has been brought forward from Nestlé-owned Portuguese coffee brand Cical, is launching a new packaging for their coffee beans to replace traditionally used materials. The 1 kilogram packs are ready to recycle, but also act as a strong barrier to oxidization to preserve the contents. So that's me. Barry, are you on the line?
Yes, hi.
Excellent. So over to you, and look forward to hearing some questions for Marika.
Hi, Marika. Are you on the line?
Yes.
First question that's come in is, we've heard obviously a lot about what you're doing with the labels and how to make them more sustainable and aid the sort of recycling process. Are you doing any work in the area of the carrier to reduce the amount of waste that is generated by the carrier to the labels?
Yeah, like the release liner. Is that what's meant? Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, we are a part of CLAB, which is like the circular economy for labels. That's a consortium between different label suppliers, but also converters. And we are at the moment, we are working on establishing new recyclers, first of all, and then getting the volume, and then looking into logistics, how we can kind of like offer all the label users a recycling possibility for the release liner. So we are part of a bigger consortium working on that.
Yeah. Okay. And it's when you think about it, getting large quantities of the carrier back should be a relatively straightforward thing to do, because of who all your users are, and you can offer a service to bring it back. So we should expect to see something in that area. The next question was on the sorting, where you've established whether the label and the bottle can be sorted together with the near infrared sorting system. Is there any problem with sorting clear from coloured PET with the label interfering with that process and picking out clear as and mistaking it as coloured because of the label?
I know that is a difficult topic, the colored versus clear PET, and it's also like done differently in every country, which doesn't really help. But as far as I know, there are a lot of machines that can do the color sorting. And the point that I was trying to establish was that the NIR goes through the sleeve. So it really doesn't recognize or take into account the sleeve itself. So it should be able to recognize the underlying colored PET. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Good. There's one of the sort of fairly common questions is, what about the cost dynamics of EcoFloat? Will it become competitive with the sort of standard PET and PVC alternatives in time? Or do you think there'll always be a sort of cost premium for this type of material?
Well, we're definitely working on bringing the cost down, and I think it's already pretty competitive. But we are investing a couple of million over in Poland to build a new line. So that's definitely coming on stream in Q1 22. So that's not very far away. And that will definitely help on the cost side.
Okay. And where do you feel sort of future initiatives in label, where areas are you working that you haven't quite cracked yet you think will help with the sort of sustainability and environmental aspects?
Well, of course, I mean, a big challenge is the circular economy. So making the label itself circular. And we made a first step with this EcoStretch solution where we just got the award for. That is like a niche solution for German mineral bottle providers because they, buy the bottle in rigid PET bottles in a case, the mineral water, and they bring it back to the store. So essentially, the bottles end up at the bottler again, and they can cut off the sleeves, the stretch sleeves, and send them back to us. And we're going to invest in a technology to be able to clean those and repelletize them and make them back really into a new stretch sleeve. So that would be like an ideal sleeve to sleeve closed loop solution. And that's something we would really see to be possible for our other solutions.
Yeah, and it sounds to me a lot of your solutions and work that you're doing does require the sort of the greater recycling industry to come together and become more coordinated across Europe and different markets to be able to deliver these things, which is, I think, something which we all recognize that we need to have more standardized approaches across all the different countries and different markets to try and make these things get a critical mass to be able to work effectively.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's something legislation will have to drive it, but also regulation and like a more consequent sorting so that, we get like more of the same types of waste so that we can find solution to recycle them into a new high quality product.
Yeah. I think the last question, Paul, is for you around the coffee bag example that you put forward in your slides about what is the material of the coffee bag. Do you have any more information on that?
Yes, I noticed that I would. I'll need to dig a bit deeper, and I'll include that in the outputs. I realised as I was talking about that, I didn't have information about how the mono or how the recyclability is achieved. So I will do a little bit of extra research to confirm that, because obviously that's quite a vital piece of information. So apologies that I realised that as I was saying it. So I'll sort that.
Okay, I think Marika, that is everything for yourself at the moment. But normally we get some other questions, follow-up questions as people think about them. But if anybody wants a follow-up question, if they contact Paul or myself, and then we'll make sure that the questions get through to you and a connection is made. So if anybody wants more information, either to contact you directly or come through us, and we'll make the contact for them.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay. Well, there's also, if you haven't quite had enough of listening to Marika and CCL labels, there's another opportunity. We did an interview with Marika 2 or 3 weeks ago. So that's available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ThePackHub. And if you're quick, you can scan that QR code and that will take you straight to the page. So that's available. We'll also include that video interview in the outputs for this webinar, which will be available on YouTube by tomorrow morning. And we will send you an email with the links and Marika's and my details for any follow-ups should you wish to do so. So just like to thank you all very much for your time and attention. We do appreciate you consistently coming back to explore our webinars. We will be back next month. We're just tying up a few dates. Everyone's diaries are getting a lot busier now with face-to-face events and meetings and that now taking place. So we're just trying to tie up a date for our October webinar, but we will be informing you as soon as we know about that. You can follow our events at thePackHub.com/events/webinar. So thank you all very much for your time. I wish you a safe rest of the week and look forward to hearing from you and speaking to you again soon. Thank you.